Welcome everyone, we are BFG and we're streaming live via the PSN and on YouTube. What you're looking at here is Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms on the PS4. This is a free-to-play game on the PSN, no membership required. This game is similar to its predecessor, Clicker Heroes, another free-to-play game, but is superior in every way. However, both games hide heavily behind a pay-to-win wall, which is a topic we will be covering later in the stream. But today, I'm going to cover quickly how you can get your party geared up so that you can avoid paying upfront cash for a game you may not end up enjoying. Feel free to skip ahead in the video if you want to get to the action. But first, we're going to cover the basics. If you are looking for some quick trophies, you could probably knock out a few within an hour or two, but as far as going for a platinum, you might want to look elsewhere. Right away, I was intrigued by the moniker and brand associated with this game. We grew up playing TSR and Forgotten Realms made D&D products. Since then, WotC, or Wizards of the Coast, has taken over most things nerd and is attempting to replicate the success of past franchises. If you guys tuned in yesterday, I tried to do this broadcast and the audio cut out for some reason, so we're going to go ahead and redo this with audio. So I hope this is helpful to you guys. We're going to get started, and what better place than to get started when you start this game? Started on an event. As you can see here, it is a midwinter event, something like that. I forget what they called it. But right here you get you can unlock 2 champions. So you have year 1 and year 2. Now I intended upon doing this is the quest I did yesterday. Unlocked Drow Warlock. He's pretty cool. His power level is through the roof. Before you start, the guy you start with isn't great. He's like a dwarf shield fighter or something. Not too good. And then I unlocked this other Deacon character, which was a much better upgrade. But this guy right here, his power level is through the roof. So I highly recommend, if you guys are wanting to get into this game, as you can see, 6 days, 3 hours, 15 minutes, get in it, get in here, get these 2 characters unlocked. This guy's not half bad either, and he swaps with, I think, Celeste, which is actually a good character. But if you want to mix it up, and then actually different quests require different party assemblies, so it's actually good to have the variety. But okay, so like I said, if you're going to get started on this event. Actually, when I did this prior, it was on a weekend as well, which they usually provide your champions with some buffs, so they select certain ones that are going to receive extra percent, like 200% gold find, 200% damage. It really powers up your crew. It's a lot like having multiple pots going at once, so we're going to take a look at those a little bit later. Time gates are also events that happen. I think those happen every 16 or 20 days or something like that, and you can actually unlock time gate pieces, which help you open the gates earlier. So between the events, the time gates, and then getting the time gate pieces yourself, you're actually able to unlock these characters quite rapidly. Although the party you start out with isn't that great, so the need and the want and the desire to maybe buy a couple champions is overwhelming at first. But be patient with it. Like I said, get started on these events. Use the weekend buffs to your favor. So that's the best way to do it. If you look at this as just kind of the adventure we're on right now, what I have it doing is I reached level 150, and now I just kind of have them sitting there, and they'll auto attack, and they'll move forward at their own pace until they can't progress, and then they'll get pushed back, which is what they're doing now. And that's a good way to acquire gold, acquire kills, stuff for your achievements and trophies, which we're going to go over later as well. So right here is the different blessings. So this is kind of the favor that you earn through the different events. So right now, as you can see, you can transform it into whichever favor you like there. It's telling you how much you're going to get. It tells you how much you've earned from this event. And these are similar to the time gate events here. But these are the main factions, so this is where you're going to spend and unlock your points. I wouldn't recommend, because as you see, I've spent 208 million. I have 604 million available. If I reset that, your gold find goes way up. But on the harder quests, you need this extra damage. You need these different things. This one's just good because it gives you ×2 damage all campaigns, but some of them, it's a trade-off. So if I even had 50 million, exactly, I wouldn't want to spend it, even though you're going to get +1 gems, which gems you need heavily. So you want, you just want to think about how you're going to spend those, and it's a percentage game. You usually don't want to spend too much. If it's asking you if you're sure you want to spend it, you might want to rethink it. Some of them, though, that's not always the case. But use your judgment, but also make sure to be doing this in a manner in which it's not going to be setting you back. Again, here is the buffs I was kind of talking about earlier. Right now, I don't have any current buffs, but this is where they would show up. And we're going to go over the pots and whatnot in a little bit. We'll swing back to those champions. Right now I want to go over these milestones. So as you can see here, we're just going to select all. Some of these are not, you're just going to get them from playing the game. Other ones you kind of have to look at them and just go, okay, I'm going to try to do that on this run or whatever. The gear, a lot of these, the chests, different things, they pop up. This right here you want to look at because you can do some of these, but they do take, you got to think about it and attempt to do it each run. They're not just going to happen. Some of them will. Some of them will. Most of them will. And then that one, view the credits. That's a good way to just get a 1% boost. You think 1% isn't great, but right there, 61 milestones has gotten a 114% bonus increase, which is decent. That's not terrible. Okay. Alright, so that was just a quick look at those. We're going to go over the inventory right now. So inventory, here's your inventory screen. As you can see, you get different things. These chests right here, you get different ones. Actually, I had a really cool gold one for the new character I just unlocked, but I couldn't wait to open it. I got some epic gear, so we'll go over those gears later. These chests, the silver chests, usually they come with 2 pieces of gold, or 2 buffs of gold, and you're lucky to get a piece of gear, maybe a pot. So my recommendation on these, open them early and often when you first get the chest, but kind of as you progress the game, you just wait on them because you'll get to a point in the game where it's going to be harder to progress. Like the last 5 to 10 levels of a quest to get really hard. So you can use these quests, to give yourself a boost in gold. Plus, it's based on your gold find and whatnot. So using these when you have no gold buffs or anything, it's not a waste, but you're going to get more productivity out of these if you kind of wait and use them strategically. Much like anything in this game, it's resource management. So maybe kind of when you start to get duplicate gear and whatnot, you'll notice. And then so gems are super important. We'll swing back to those. Here's some of the different pots. The description isn't coming up. Okay, it's kind of a glitch in the game, I've noticed. So these again, it's kind of like the chests. Use these to kind of get over the hump. Some of them are epic though, and they last the whole adventure. So you plan these out. I got a couple early when you start the game. They give you kind of like a starter pack. I would recommend that you kind of save those unless you need them. I blew through, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 epic potions where I just had to end up restarting the quest anyway. So it was a total waste. I mean, it is what it is. You just have to decide, what is it worth it? Do you want to hang on to these things? Do you want to use them right away? Whatever your playstyle is, it's a balance. It's all balance. So those are some of the different pots. Now you can stack these, but say you have a tiny one here, a small one, and a medium one. You can stack those next to each other. I don't know if you can stack all the different sizes with all the different colors. I'm not sure how many active buffs you can have at once. But I have used 2 of the same potion, just different sizes, and they do stack. So that's pretty cool that they do that. Alright, and then the same thing here with these blacksmith contracts. You have to have a character with all their gear unlocked to use them, and it's really a random effect. So I waited a long time to kind of use these, and really it didn't matter. I was like, oh, I need a character with epic gear and all this stuff, and you're not probably going to find too much epic gear. I kind of feel like it's a pay wall that this game hide behinds, where you need to be buying certain things to be getting the better gear, or maybe buying the champions that come with the epic gear kind of thing is what they're going for. So really, if you find a character you like and they got some decent gear, you might as well just power them up. I was confused with the gear in the beginning because there's different colors, green, purple, orange, whatever, like the regular loot colors are. and I don't really know how it works. Some of the things in this game are vague. They don't really describe to you how it works. So the you know, I don't know if, okay, once you find a green piece of gear and level it all the way up, if you say find an epic piece of gear of that same gear slot later, does it replace it, or is it kind of a progression thing where like it starts green and then goes purple the higher it gets? I don't know that information, and unfortunately I couldn't find it anywhere. But you know, like I said, just mess around with that. It's not; these aren't a big deal. Don't feel like you're gonna waste those. They're just whatever. Right here, these bounty contracts, I recommend using these only during events and only once you're to, like, basically right now I'm as high as I'm going to go in this quest before I reset it, and I just used a couple to get the DPS up a little bit so these guys didn't keep getting pushed back, and it gave me a huge boost to my favor that I earned because it, you know, it gives you a half hour worth of gold, whatever, and token, so it's a huge boost right at the end. If you use them early, like on the stage 1, it's not going to give you anywhere near as much of a boost because, like I said, it's all based on gold find percent and how, you know, how much damage you're doing, whatever the equation is on that one. All right, so we got with that. Let's take a look at familiars. Now, I had just earned enough to unlock this pixie. I did that on the last video that didn't end up working out. I was super excited. You do have to reassign these every quest you start, which is that's kind of annoying. But you know, it'd be nice if they would stay there, or you could lock them. Maybe you can do that. I just don't know how. But anyway, as you can see here, they're required. They're not necessary, but they're required to kind of progress the game in an automatic fashion. Because once you get here, let's just take a look. So if you had 6 going, it would get all that stuff. If you have 3, it does auto loot. I've been playing this game for about a month, and I just unlocked my second familiar. So that's just to go to show you. It's just another part of the paywall. We're going to take a look at that a little bit later as well. So let's go back to characters. Where'd those characters go? Okay, so yeah, this is the guy I just unlocked. Super excited about this dude. Huge boost to your team. He has cool effects. He just looks cool. I don't know what that is. Some kind of gross looking snake cockatrice looking crazy thing. And so yeah, this is just an example of the gear here. So, and you know, some of their different abilities, and we're gonna go over the formation abilities a little bit later, not in like crazy detail or anything, but they're just a quick look at some of that. And then, you know, you can see they've got a quick biography down here. So if you're familiar with some of these characters from the lore of Dungeons and Dragons, some of the games out there, it's cool to see, like, you can see Minsk down there from Baldur's Gate, and it actually tells you some of them are from Baldur's Gate, which is cool. Yeah, Heroes of Baldur's Gate. I'm not sure what Force Grey and some of these other ones are. Waffle Crew. If you know what those are, that's awesome. Don't know, you know, the C Team, different things. But as you can see here on the very right, this is so you get. I'm not sure if you can only get 3 per character slot. So there's 12 character slots. And if you only get 3, that's 36 different characters, right? So, yeah. So you're able to swap these out. Looks like you can get some different skins for them as well. But we're gonna go into that a little bit later too. But so that's kind of how you select through the different guys. And one thing I don't have right now is a time gate event to show you. But when you do get a time gate event, you get a choice of 3 characters. And it doesn't tell you which character is going to take which bench slot. So my recommendation to you for that is, and I'll show you when I go to the store, is you go to the store and it'll show you. So if you're not in a quest, you can't look at the store. But if you are in a quest, or if you're not, you can start like a free-to-play quest real quick, or a free quest, and just start it to look at the store and then stop the quest. It's not going to hurt you in any way to do that. And as far as I know, there isn't another way to view the shop. And like I said earlier, the characters you start off with in the game they're not, you know, they're adequate, but they're not spectacular, they're not great. And as you unlock more characters, your party will strengthen. I have realized this is another huge paywall this game hides behind, is the progression, you know, because you need these better characters to get higher missions. So your progression is going to be slow. If you take advantage of events, you can unlock better characters. You know, which is, I mean, it's cool that the game lets you can gain access to most of the paid content without spending money. you know, if you have the time to dedicate and the patience to wait and, you know, just kind of grind it out. Not a lot of free-to-play games that I have played offer the ability to access the paid content without paying. So as far as I can tell in this game, there isn't anything that they offer for paid that you can't get without grinding. So that's you know, that's something to be said about this game. And something I didn't do right away when I joined this game was I didn't sign up for the email or the notifications, whatever it is. You'll see it when you start the game and you hit the options menu. It brings up, you know, the settings list. It'll prompt you to sign up for their emails. I'll recommend you do that because you get Hitch. You know, I didn't. Delinia wasn't ever that great. I felt like she held the team back. This guy Hitch, he has got some really cool attacks. His ultimate is awesome. He buffs the team with his charisma buff. So if your guys have a certain charisma, they get buffed. What is it? Oh yeah, so it says right there, friendly. Look at that. That's a huge buff. Really great. All right. Well, that being said, let's head over to the shop. Here is what I was talking about in the shop. So they let you know hot items, what is good to buy when you first start out. The different chests, you do get package deals. Now, if you're gonna start the game and you don't mind spending a little bit of money to get started, here's what I would recommend you do. As you can see, these champions get kind of expensive. $10, $20, $30 a champion. I mean, that seems like a lot, especially if you're gonna need 12. Obviously, some of the stuff is cosmetic, but I would recommend you get this Founders Pack right here. You're going to get a costume, which, you know, whatever. But you're going to get this Beholder right here, or this Familiar. And it's a Beholder. It looks familiar. I love it. And all these pots. 5,000 gems, which is enough to buy your first 2 other Familiars as well. Or actually, you might even be able to buy one of the more expensive ones with those gems so you don't get tempted to waste them. And then 42 gold chests. I mean, plus a couple contracts. That's not a bad way to go at all. And also this one, I would say grab the Black Cat. So now you're looking at starting out the game with probably 3 familiars, or 2 if you're going to buy the more expensive familiar, and then you're going to probably have 4 within the first, I don't know, a couple weeks of playing the game. That's going to really push you over the level. You're going to spend about $25, which is not bad for a game if you like a game. You know, if you really like a game, $25 is a great price point. But it would suck, you know, if you bought all this other stuff, you spent like $100, and you're like, oh man, you bought all the gems, all the treasure packs, all this different stuff, and you know, you ended up not liking the game. That would be that would suck, right? Okay, so let's talk about these gems real quick. Like I was talking about just now, save these gems for your familiars. The familiars provide easement to the game, but they're not completely necessary. However, they are useful. Very useful. In order to begin auto-progressing the game, familiars are key. This is a fun game, but it's incredibly grindy. If you're like me, you might not be able to invest long gaming sessions at once. And this game is great for that because, you know, once you get your party set up, kind of like I have it now. I mean, you can't see it because it's in the background, but once you have your party set up, they're just going to match. They're just going to auto progress. So you can set the controller down. You can switch back and forth, you know, watching TV, whatever, doing whatever errands, whatever business around the house you got going on. You know, just leave the game open. You can't suspend it, or I don't know, it goes into a different mode. You'll still earn gold, but it won't progress. So, you know, it's cool for that. It's a great way to progress the game and earn trophies and get gems and whatever it is you're trying to do with the game. So that aspect of it is really nice. I mean, as far as like action and all that, it's not, you know, you're not really doing a whole lot. It's more of a resource management, party building system. But if you look at it, it's like any other dungeon grinding game there is. You grind, level, gear, you know, fight the boss. Essentially, it's just broken down the very basics of gaming within it, and it removes the actual, you know, like button mashing, whatever it is that you would be doing with you know, a normal RPG that you'd be, a traditional RPG you'd be used to. And that's what you notice with the phone games. They're you know, they're easier to play for whatever reason, that, you know, the limitations of the technology that it's on a phone. A lot of the phone users aren't necessarily hardcore gamers. They like to game because everybody likes gaming, right? And that's one of the things I really have been enjoying about PlayStation 4 is that they're bringing all these phone games to PlayStation 4. Fallout Shelter being one of them, a great game. I've seen Lara Croft Go in the store. I think that might have won Mobile Game of the Year late last year or the year before. I'm not really a huge Tomb Raider fan in the sense of the way the game goes. I mean, I like the, you know, the IP or whatever is cool. I appreciate that. But anyway, so all that being said, we're going to go, what I talked about earlier, we're going to go into pay to win versus free to play. I'm going to duck that screen out for a minute, and then you guys can kind of see some of this action I was talking about. You get those distractions flying by. But okay, so pay to win is becoming an increasing dilemma in modern gaming. Developers are offering players the holy grail for a price, but not explaining the slippery slope that it represents. While it is one thing to support a developer that you appreciate, it's another to be put in a position to either lose the game or pay to win. I'm able to resist the temptation of these pay to win games. I take advantage of playing them for free, and I've yet to spend any money. But I would still like to be presented with an alternative. While I wouldn't mind kicking down a few bucks, I don't appreciate being forced. I would like to see a different side to these pay to win games, possibly the ability to pay on a scale or other various methods. I have yet to pay any money, as I said, but that's not because I don't think the developers deserve to get paid, but it's the method in which they're trying to do so. I was close to buying the Black Cat Familiar Pack for $4.99, but I decided against it. You know, I thought to myself, I start doing that, you know, what's the point of continuing to play the game? I'm playing this to grind out, to reach the next level, to get the gear, to do what I need to do in order to progress to the next level, and if I just buy everything, I'm already going to be at the end. Game over. And I just spent $100 to not play the game anymore. So, you know, that's just one of those things we face today in modern gaming, to be or not to be, to play, to pay, to win, to lose. Your guess is as good as mine. Let me know what you guys think about that whole thing. Drop it in the comments. Alright, so what I wanted to do next, so we kind of took a look at some of these different characters here. Let's take a look at some of these abilities. So as you can see there, it tells you their base attack and their ultimate. Once you progress your tune high enough level, you'll unlock their ultimate. This chick is pretty cool. She rides a Pegasus and bashes. It's a ton of fun. One of the best ultimates that I have seen. And then she's a good example too because she has formation bonuses. So if you look, it says all champions behind her in the formation. And then you have the Divine Prayer. So there's two unlocks you can get with that later. Is you can either do one when she attacks or gets attacked. I usually like to do the one when she attacks because the other one is when she attacks your party, or when the enemies attack your party. And if you have her in the front tank spot, your party's not going to be getting attacked. You're wasting that ability. So and that's kind of what I'm talking about. You know, you gotta pay attention to the different abilities. Don't be, when you first start the game, just kind of take the time. Don't be thinking you gotta be on top of it. The game will progress itself, and you just gotta check in on it. So feel comfortable with your party. Know what the formation is. They change throughout the different quests, so one formation isn't gonna work through the whole game. So keep that in mind. Okay, but one thing you can do is, as you can see here, I can swap. So I have two guys in here. So say we're in the battlefield here, and one of the guys back there goes down. If the enemies are up on your dudes like this, you're not going to be able to swap out the front part of your party there. But if, say, the guy behind the tank drops, you can swap in one of the characters real quick. You got to pick them up like this, and move them to that spot. So basically you would have to be in the character screen ready to swap the character and then drop them in. So or if, say, because you can only have so many guys in at once, you know, this guy here is on the bench. So basically, if one of the other tunes drops, I can try to get him in real quick. But, you know, unfortunately will happen if you're not fast, and sometimes the game lags, especially if there's a lot of mobs on the screen. If you don't do it quickly, it can cause a whole lot of other problems. So a lot of time you're better off just not doing that. But you can swap them in, use their ultimate, swap them out. Their cooldown won't reduce while they're out, though, so you got to remember that when you go to do it for the next time. You got to prep your guys. You like let them in just till their ultimate cools down, and then you can take them back out. But you can, yeah, you can pop them in. You can use their ultimate. That might give you the next DPS boost you need to reach the next level. You know, so let's see here. That's about that with it. And after all is said and done here, I'm gonna end this quest, and I'm gonna start one fresh for you guys and go over it. That way, it's gonna be a little bit easier to explain. Now, some of the in-game details, like I was mentioning, let's take a look at Minsk. I was kind of mentioning this earlier, the in-game details, they're not all that specific. He gets an option to choose favored enemy, okay, so I chose beasts. Now, you don't know what that exactly means. Does it count were beast? Does it have to say beast in the name? Does it count stuff that looks like a beast? What's the deal with that? It doesn't really explain to you. Same thing with the undead. Is a zombie a humanoid or an undead? Or both? How does that work? It doesn't tell you necessarily, at least that I can tell. And some of the categories don't even seem to be covered at all. So maybe he only gets specific ones and I'm overthinking it. But that's just kind of what I'm talking about. You know, so similar instances you might encounter in your journey. Much of this game will be left to discovery and experimentation. The way... You know, the way you progress, the way this game tends to progress is that the majority of the levels are easy enough until you reach the final 10 to 15 stages. Here's where you will start to do almost no damage to the enemies. I'd recommend ending the quest and starting it over, unless you're heavily invested or direly in need of completing the quest. You know, maybe the timer is going to be over in a few hours or something. This will save you much time and frustration. There are multiple areas and quests to do. Try coming back at a later time. Redoing the same quest over and over may cause the game to get stale. It is my understanding that the developers are doing this to get players to reach for their wallets in order to complete quests. If you are still having trouble after a couple of resets, try back again during a bonus weekend or once you have unlocked better gear and characters. Here's where potions will come in handy as well, but be careful not to fall into the trap of burning through all your loot at once. Okay, so all that being said, I hope I covered everything. I have some vague notes here, but you know, sometimes it's difficult to stick with that. I think I might have even skipped a page. But yeah, like I was saying, some of a lot of this game is going to be left open to just discovery. You're going to have questions. It might frustrate you. Hell, it frustrates me when I'm like, man, what the hell does this mean? But you just play it, move on. I tend to get hung up on things because I'm kind of OCD, but just grind it out and then, you know, forget about it. Maybe there's probably some kind of online forum or something you can look at. I'm terrible with that kind of stuff. This is about as far as I go when it comes to internet relations. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna end the quest right here. You hold the X, bam. You get this fun little cutscene. I'll take a drink. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention is that if you're gonna, or maybe I did mention, I don't remember at this point, but say it's the end of the day, you're done for the day, you're gonna turn the game off. Make sure, don't end your quest and then turn the game off, let it run. And that's what I did with that previous one. That's what you're looking at. That was my quest from yesterday. You know, so I just left it running after I got to where I wanted to get. I put the game to sleep, whatever, put the computer to sleep, the PlayStation, and it worked on all that itself. So as you can see, all the different stats at the end there, that's what you're going to get. Let's take a look at this time event here. So here are the different quests that I have completed and done. This was easier during the weekend. There was some buffs that helped me reach some of these harder stages. Some of these are just going to get too hard to complete. So level 100. Usually when it starts to get to like 150 or higher, it's going to be more difficult. Oh, okay. No, never mind. This is not the time event. This is the main quest line. Okay, so maybe that'll probably be the one I do next right there, low initiative. It gives you the difficulty, as you can see there. That's not always the case, and I don't think it takes into account buffs and weekend buffs and different things. Gear score. I don't know how they moderate the difficulty, but the ones that are going to be hard are the ones where you don't get, like right there. If they're killed. Yeah, you know, some of them take up slots in the party, so you have useless adventures. I don't know if that's on this one. Yeah, like right there. Okay, so you have 3 slots taken out. That one was hard. There's ones where, this one here, I've been having, it even says it's fair, the contagious curse, but basically it disables 2 slots. So if it hits your 2 most powerful guys, your party's useless. Those are the ones that are going to be harder. So even though it says that the quest is difficult or dangerous or whatever it says, it might not be. And even if it's fair, it might be hard. So you just kind of have to play around with them. And that's where I came to what I was talking about earlier, is it just reset the quest if you're having trouble. Start it over. So let's take a look at, and then, okay, so here's the different, areas in the game. This one actually you can switch to this place. I think this is the one with the dinosaurs. Yeah, okay. So this one was fun. In this one I fought, not this particular quest, but one of these quests I fought a T-Rex that frickin' puked out zombies, dude. That thing was cool. It took up the whole screen. It was the first time I had seen a boss that big. And I've seen a couple others like that. It's escaping me what the other boss was, but they were both super cool. In the time event, let's see, the main bad guy is the Devourer. So let's take a look at him. It actually might tell you. It'll talk about him. Yeah, the Devourer, dude, right here. So, the guy one-shot. He comes out and one-shots your dudes normally every 10 seconds, but here it's every 8 seconds. And he's coming out every 25 levels instead of 50. And you got to get to every 175, so you got to fight the Devourer, what is that, 6-7 times or something before, that guy is tough. And he's, the first time I saw that guy, I was like, oh crap. So the game does surprise you. It's not all just like basic mobs and whatnot. The character models, the sprites, whatever you want to call them in this, are pretty good. I think it's a well-made game. I mean, I'm having fun with it. There's a lot to do. Not actually sure which quest I was going to do. Maybe we'll go back and try that one I was talking about. Because these ones are tough, especially in the events, because you have to pay gift boxes. So if you're not sure you can beat the quest, it might be a waste of your gift boxes to try to do that. So that would be an instance where you don't want to just be like starting quests to not start them. So as much as I want to do dinosaur racing, that one is like timed. You got to do it in a half hour. I guess let's do it. Let's do it. Where did it go? Let's do dinosaur racing. I'll try to explain it to you as I go. I don't know though. Where is it? It's whatever. If I don't do it, I don't do it. We're gonna take a look. That's a pretty basic formation that you're gonna see around more often than that. Oh, although I don't. You know what? I don't have a lot of favor from them, so we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna do that one later though, because I have a chance to convert as soon as this event's over. I have a chance to convert all my stuff, so I might convert it to that. So we'll just do that one I was talking about. Which one was that? Was it one of the ones down here? Area 150? Okay, well we'll just do that because I'm on that one and I forgot where that other one went. We're not going to probably go the whole 150, but I do want to get the stuff going and set up for you so that it's just easier to explain. So we'll get that started, how it would get started. So you get a little bit of story if you want to read it. I've noticed every 50 levels or so is when the game kind of resets itself. For both the enemies and the character, and some of the times the stories are different, but usually it's about the same, even in this whole area. So pretty much every quest you do is going to be just about the same, kind of strangely enough. And this is what I was talking about a little earlier too, is that you have to go and set your familiars each time, which, you know, it's not a big pain in the butt or anything, but it has its moments. So here, as you see, each time you unlock, you get more gold. You can start unlocking these guys. I typically use the level to upgrade versus one at a time. Is just less headache, but sometimes you do need to advance the characters one at a time. And something, if I forget to mention it later, when you're fighting a boss and you have your tank out there, say I had her up front and she was taking tons of damage, and in that particular spot it's hard to have a healer. She actually benefits from having a heals on her. She gets buffs and then buffs the whole team, but basically, if you don't have heals on them, you can do the one at a time leveling, and it actually is kind of a way to self-heal them that way. Stacking your player attack in the beginning is very important, especially when you have double familiars like that, because it's just going to wreck the crew. Because your characters have time to, they have timers and stuff on their attacks. That the auto attack is just going to mow through these guys before they can even, know what's going on. So I'm going to try to get to one of their specialties. I think this guy has one. Okay. So here's your first choice. Okay, so you can either choose ahead or behind. Based on the formation and the characters in your party, I haven't seemed to have gotten a good replacement for the bard in this party. I can't remember her name. Oh, let's take a look. Oh, and you don't have to choose it right away. You can back out. Calliope. So I don't have a good replacement for her yet. So basically what I do is I put those two guys in that formation, then my DPS is the middle right there. So all the DPS is going to go in the middle. The more characters you unlock, I'm kind of doing this in backwards order just because I'm earning so much gold that it's not even mattering. Because as you can see there, the 8.4% million gold find, this is, like I said, this is the main quest line. This is the one with the Torms. This is going to be the main one you get for most things. And see, I have all these upgrades here. So it's just making them that much more powerful, plus all that gold find. Like I said, I could go spin that favor and make them stronger, but till I get to a harder point in the game, or say I was like I said, in the last 10 levels, maybe it's getting so difficult that I can't progress. I'll go and burn some of that favor to increase my damage, and that might get me over the top. If not, I'll use a potion. If not, I'll burn some more favor. You got to do what you got to do to complete those quests. But like I said, at one point, if it's just too hard, if it's too difficult, the mobs are too tough, you're not damaging them at all, you just restart the game. It's going to save you a lot of headache. A lot of headache. I banged my head against the wall many times. I just gotta pass this, this level. I would turn it off because it'll auto, you'll auto earn overnight or whatever. So I would just wait. I'm like, fine, I want to play this game, but you know what? I don't want to waste stuff, so I'm gonna let it auto earn. And that's actually the slowest way to earn money I've found. It's better just leave the system on with it auto killing a bunch of stuff. You're gonna be able to progress at a different way. But if you don't have time for that, it's great that it auto progresses for you. As the game goes on. So as I'm building this formation, what I want to do, I don't know if this one's kind of different than the last one, but what I'm going to eventually do, oh no, it's kind of the same. So I'm working my tanks toward the front, and I'm going to have my DPS down the middle, and this is all based on the character abilities, and that's the reasoning why I'm doing that. So, ideally I will eventually have Evelyn up front, Groma, and probably Jarlax behind that. Eventually I'm going to swap this chick in because she's badass. Borrowin is a paladin or cleric. Yeah, cleric, dude. She buffs the team, gets blessed hammer. Just totally cool, has healing. Look at that sweet gear. Got an epic freaking 17 right there. 27 jeweled helm. 31 war banner. She's powered up. And as you can see, the different distractions and stuff flying by. The ones that aren't the moving, like the bird and the bugs and stuff, the ones that are stagnant there on the thing, they'll twitch a little bit. So you can sit there and click them as much as you want until they'll let you know when you are supposed to click them. So those ones are, I would say, let those ones go most of the time, because I mean, you don't get that much gold from them, and they're more annoying than anything. So it's just easier to wait and not get them unless you're just in a pinch and you really need some gold. But yeah, like I said, keep that player attack powered up. As you can see, we're just marching through right now. The game is doing its thing. I'm not really having to pay attention, and so for me, that's a really cool feature of the game. I'd like to get a couple other things unlocked, but you know what, it's getting to be about that time. Got to get going here in a little bit. I hope that was helpful. As you can see, you know, I'm kind of working the formation out to where it's going to be. As I mentioned, I'm going to move the tanks forward, the DPS to the middle, and the support to the back. And that kind of always is the build, depending on the formation. Sometimes, though, the formation and the different quests, you can't always do that. So you have to get creative. But you know, traditionally, that's how I would do my build. I mean, it's pretty common in RPGs. That's kind of how you have your build set up. And it's the same for this game. So just kind of think back to your RPG, your RPG experiences and what you do with your party, and that will really help you progress this game. Just kind of blasting through the story there. But yeah, as you can see, the bosses are coming up. They come up every 5 levels. You know, each time you progress, you're getting more and more gold. I think the gold doubles each stage. So, it's kind of pointless to, if you can, it's better to be fighting on the highest level you can fight on. But there is a balance. If it's taking you forever to kill the enemies, yeah, you might be getting more gold. But if you're killing the enemies in a second on the other one, but 5 seconds on the next one, it might be more beneficial to be killing the enemies on the backstage. And so again, it's a balancing, it's resource management. Experiment around with it, and you'll figure it out. So that all being said, I'm gonna just close it out, guys. Idle Heroes of the Forgotten Realms, it offers much for a free-to-play game. If you are patient and dedicated, this will be a fantastic adventure in the most prolific fantasy lore ever created. Dungeons & Dragons is easily considered by many to be the creator of all things nerd that we know and love today. Whether you are new to the realm or a seasoned vet, Idle Heroes will be a journey that you won't soon forget. And it will leave you starving for more. If you are looking for other free-to-play games, check out our live streams and or PS4 playlist. We have some different Platinum Trophy guides in there, and I've just covered a few of the other free-to-play games. Hand of the Gods, it's Smite Tactics or something like that. Fallout Shelter I mentioned earlier. War of the Gyms, something like that. Warframe's another good one. If you're a fan of the Souls series, what the heck's the name of that game? Let It Die. That's another one that's buried under a paywall. But anyway, check out those playlists for some game ideas. I hope this video was helpful. And if you want to see more, subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you on the next run.